What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, coming at you all the way live. I'm in your space and I'm in your face, and I'm definitely blessed to be here on this wonderful day. It is 6/1/2026. It's June already? Ladies and gentlemen, is it June already? We are live at 5 here on the Prime Time Network. I'm your host, Big G, and you're locked into Industry Talk. And welcome, everyone, to the program. Welcome to the show. Everyone that is locked in with us, y'all know how we do it, man. We're going to sit here for a second and let all the bots and machines and the trinkets do what they have to do and notify everyone and let everyone know that we are live here on the Primetime Network. And when you tap in with us, make sure you tell everyone to share the live. Today's going to be an awesome conversation. We're talking about mental health, ladies and gentlemen. June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I have two very distinguished guests that are here with us today to get into this conversation. It's important, and it's not going to be a long, drawn-out situation. Now we're gonna hit it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna talk about some things that need to be talked about. Some things that men have issues talking about, whether it be relationship, family, depression, you name it. We're going to get into it today. But in the meantime, in the between time, while we're just talking about it, if you have not yet subscribed to Boss Talk Podcast 101, Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time, then this is for you. Stop what you're doing right now and go subscribe to Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime on YouTube, all social media platforms. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to make sure you tap in. Right now, over 72,000 subscribers and well over 11 million views and watch time hours. So make sure that you continue to support, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and keep tapping in with us because we're going to keep on bringing you this hot content every day and in every way. It's your main man, Big G. And make sure, like I said, stop what you're doing right now and tap in. Like, share, subscribe. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Primetime. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. You heard it here first. Make sure you tap in, like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And yes, we are talking about mental health awareness. And we've been having this discussion quite often on the show. A couple of weeks ago, we brought Emily Mitchell onto the program, and she had a great conversation in session with Mr. Damon Vega, who was falsely accused and sat down in prison for 27 years of his life for a crime that he didn't commit. So in that particular situation, there was a lot to unbox. I was a little bit out of my depth, and of course, we had to go find someone who could handle the conversation. And so Miss Mitchell stepped up to the task. And as a result of that, Mr. Mitchell, Reverend Lamond Mitchell, decided that he would come on the show and we would have a discussion about men's mental health. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this conversation goes and what it is we have an opportunity to talk about. So today on Industry Talk, I'm honored to welcome Reverend Lamond Mitchell, an educator, executive leader, mentor, a man of faith. A man of faith. As we recognize Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, we'll discuss faith, family, leadership, healing, the importance of creating space where men can thrive mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is a conversation every man and every family needs to hear. We're also going to be joined by Mr. Ricky Lewis, an educator, professional athlete, author, father, and so is Lamont. I don't want to leave that out in terms of the accolades. But both of these individuals are well versed and well qualified as it relates to them dealing with people, as it relates to them dealing with society, how we view the world, their opinions in terms of how they view the world. And so to sit down and have this conversation is going to be very enlightening, to say the least. To say the least. So we're giving everybody an opportunity to come on board, to lock in on all social media. Right now, we're streaming across all social media platforms. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Snap, Flap, you name them, we're on them. Look us up. Everybody that's chiming in right now. What's going on, Bree? How you doing, my sister? Bree Melton, we had a great conversation a couple weeks ago. We still have to do part 2 because we have not finished our conversation. Bree Melton, she is the mother of Aaron Estrada, professional basketball athlete, and a really good friend of my son, Tolu Smith. We got to hit the reboot button and do part 2 of that conversation. Welcome to the live, Bree, and everyone else who has chimed in. So before we go further, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining the conversation. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them in the messaging, drop them in the description. Hit us up. Let us know what's on your mind. How many of you know how to make gumbo? Like really know how to make gumbo? My grandmother, Catherine Isham, rest in peace, and my uncle Anthony Gilbert, rest in peace. That's who I learned how to make gumbo from. And one thing you learn when you're dealing with older individuals, your elders, is that everything that you do takes time. You got to be patient. You got to let it do what it got to do in the pot, baby. You can't just rush it. And you can't just throw everything in at once. So let's see here. Let me bring Mr. Lamont Mitchell, aka Reverend Lamont Mitchell, to the platform. My good man, Lamont Mitchell. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you today?
And I am fantastic, my brother. How are things going with you?
I'm good. Summer school is out. So now it's just a regular day-to-day, trying to get ready for the next school year.
Okay. So now do you deal with the younger kids or do you deal with adults with different issues? What are you dealing with? Because you've been the principal, you've been the administrator, you've been every part of what you could imagine in the school system, charter schools, startup schools. Tell me what's going on.
So now I'm now on the operations side of a school district.
Okay.
I'm executive director of operations. So I oversee transportation, student nutrition,
right,
custodial, grounds, maintenance,
right,
and safety and security.
Okay. Good stuff. That is what's up. But you ain't have to throw that big executive title out there. I mean, we still family now. You know what I mean? We keeping it professional, but you know.
I'm just Lamont when it comes down to it.
Yes, indeed, my brother. It's good to see you.
About no titles.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Let me see if we can't bring Ricky on here and get him locked in, make sure his audio and everything's good. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ricky Lewis to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Lewis. Can we hear you, Ricky? We can't hear you. Oh, he can't. He on another one. Let me see. Which one? Which one can we hear you on? I can't hear you on either one of them, Ricky. I'm trying to see which one's the best one to lock you in on, but you're not getting any audio either which way it goes. Let me kick you from the studio with this one. Okay. How about now, Ricky? Can you hear? What you got? You can hear? We can't hear you. No audio. Send it to your phone? Okay, I'll send it to your phone. I'll send it to your phone. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give me a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Give me one moment. I got folks calling. They know I'm on live, Reverend Mitchell. They know I'm on live, and they're going to call me anyway. It happens every time. You know, be the people you least expect, and they definitely know. Yeah. I ain't going to say nothing, baby. I ain't gonna tell nobody it's you. Let me send Ricky this link. Let me see. Hold on a second. And we'll get Rick locked in right quick. I want to know if you're ready for this conversation. That's what I want to know.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
Get into it.
Let's definitely get into it. So before we go too far into it, let's let Rick get his opportunity to come on in. Let the people know a little bit about you, Lamont. Hold on a second. I'm gonna bring you up on the screen. I'm gonna ask you questions, but let's give a little background about who you are, what you got going on, where you're from, all that kind of good stuff. Because I want people to know who you are before we dig deep off into what we're about to get off into. That's cool?
That's cool.
Good stuff. So Reverend Mitchell, where you from? Where'd you grow up, and how was that part of your life?
So I was born and raised in Canton, Mississippi, small town.
Okay.
I only have one brother that's about 8 years older than me. So pretty much grew up a single child, really, because we're so far apart. I grew up in a town where education wasn't priority a lot of times. Sports was huge. I played basketball in high school. In college, I went to Tougaloo College for my undergrad and played basketball. And then I got my master's at St. Thomas once I moved to Houston and started my teaching career here. And so education has always been big for me, just knowing that it wasn't a major priority in the community I grew up with. It was a priority in my house, but not in my community.
Okay.
And so I always wanted to help kids just be the best they can be.
Right. Okay. Let's see if we can't get Ricky up in here right quick. I see you, Ricky.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can hear you clearly now. Yeah. I don't know why you froze up, but we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
You on and popping. We got you.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us. He done went out again. Somebody might be trying to call it. So yeah, let's keep it going, Lamont. Because Ricky gonna get right here in just a second.
Are we good now?
We good. I think we locked in, Rick. Yeah, we good. Can you hear him, Lamont? He can't hear you. Lamont can't hear you.
Hello?
No.
Hold on a second. Y'all hold tight. I got something. I know what I can do. Don't go nowhere.
I'm working on it.
Oh, good. How about now? Everybody can hear everybody?
Can you hear me?
You.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Lamont, can you hear Rick?
No.
He went all the way out. Can you hear us, Rick? There you go.
Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Lamont, can you hear Ricky?
No.
No, he can't hear you. Hold up. I'm gonna take you, Lamont. I'm gonna bring you out and bring you back in because I can hear Ricky.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Rick. We're good. We're good, Rick.
I've never had.
Yeah, we're good though, Rick.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. No problem. But I just can't see you now.
The craziest thing.
All right, Ricky, can you hear me? Lamont, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can you hear those birds in the background?
Yep.
Then that means you can hear Ricky. Okay, Ricky, we good. We just need your face on the screen now.
You can hear me?
Yeah, everybody can hear you now.
Okay, all right, good. All right, good. Sorry about that.
No, you good, man. You good. We're gonna get it right. Yeah, having a little issues. Everything is good. Everything is working the way it's supposed to work. So Lamont, like we're saying, because Rick will be back here on the screen here in just a second. You were talking about when you were growing up. Education was important, and the things that you went through to get to where you are, basically. So keep it going with us, man. Let us keep on filling us in while Rick's working on this corner.
Yeah. So after growing up in Mississippi, I then moved to Houston to start my teaching career. And so I did my teaching career for about 12, 13 years and decided to go back to school and get my master's degree in education leadership in order to have an even bigger impact on more students. And so I went down that route and became an assistant principal, an associate principal, and then a principal of a campus. And then I moved into this position. And during those times, I also strengthened my belief in God and really got busy in church. And I started being active with doing a lot of things in the church. And that's where I became very vocal in teaching and doing classes with our men, as well as our young adult classes, to just hope to motivate and help inspire people to want better and do better and strive to be the best that God had created them to be.
Okay. Well, you kind of fast tracked it a little bit. I mean, you jumped from high school, Tougaloo, straight off into what you do. I get it a little bit, but there's a whole lot in between that we need to know about Mr. Mitchell. I mean, we're talking about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're on this platform right now as the authority, as the individual that knows about it, that has experienced it, has assisted individuals through certain things. So what is it that we can put the feather in the cap to let folks know that, hey, Reverend Lamont Mitchell knows what he's talking about when it's related to this particular topic?
So I'll first say I am not a licensed therapist at all. A lot of my knowledge comes from experiences. It just comes from experiences I've lived through with my personal mental health, talking to other people, and just trying to walk down that same path with them that I walked through. And so I haven't gone to school for social work or mental health, but I have had experiences that have really strengthened me as a person to be able to talk as an authoritative because I've gone through these things. But as far as just licensure and any of that, I don't have any of that. All I have is lived experiences that can hopefully help somebody else down that path.
Okay, so do understand, I didn't introduce you as a therapist. I didn't introduce you as a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or anything along those lines. Now, in industry talk, we understand that. You see, so I appreciate you giving us that disclaimer, but that's not going to sit there and take away from the fact that we about to sit there and get hot and heavy with this conversation.
Let's go.
Now
Let's go.
today you gonna be therapist. Today you gonna be counsel. Today you gonna give us some gems and some information in terms of why do so many men struggle in silence. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I think the first thing that really hinders men is just what culture has taught men. Culture has taught men to hold it in, to be the strongest person, to go get it. You can't show weakness. Like that's what society has taught us. And because of that, so many men are suffering in silence because of that stereotype that has been placed on men over the years. I mean, I can say that even from my own upbringing. Like my dad, I grew up in the hood, so you couldn't be soft. You had to hold everything in. And so a lot of men have grown up that way. They've taught their children the same way. And so now we have a culture who has told us and dictated to us that you can't show that side as a man. And so many men are suffering, trying to get it done, but suffering in silence because they feel like they can't show that side of themselves.
Okay, hold on a second. I gotta get Ricky in on this. I gotta get him in on this conversation. I gotta get him on this screen because I know he can weigh in on this topic. Because you said you hit so many different points right there. Strong. I want to talk about strong. What strong really is supposed to mean? What does it mean? How's it represented in terms of who you are? You're talking about the different pain points that men may go through in terms of suffering in silence and where they can go, who they can turn to. And like you say, you grew up in the hood, so you didn't have a choice but to act a particular type of way, or you would succumb to the pressures of what's going on. You're gonna get clowned, you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna get picked on, whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, but now you're saying that your environment, you are a product of your environment, or are you really just a choice? One choice away from making a mistake, one choice away from making the right decisions. But I got to get Ricky in on this conversation. Hold on a second, Ricky, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't see your image, man. I can't see your picture. I don't know why we can't see your picture.
I'm looking at it. You see me now?
Oh, you on the screen? You on the screen?
Yeah, I'm on the screen.
You're not on the screen. You're not on our screen at all.
I'm looking at it. And I see all three of us together.
Yeah, but you black on the social media.
Oh,
hold on a second. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, let me kick him out and bring him back in. He'll come back in. So let's keep it rolling while we're waiting for Ricky, Lamont, and so go ahead, man. Just make me understand some of that, because when we position ourselves as being strong, what are we talking about? Strong. What actually represents strength in terms of men, and how you're supposed to, hold yourself up as a man as you walk through life, even from a child, and how you're raised. Talk to me about that, man, and some of the ways that we're actually taught to be the way that we are present day. Am I talking to myself? I think Lamont froze up too. Did Lamont freeze up?
you hear me? You see me?
Yes. Yes. I can hear you and see you, Rick.
Okay, all right.
Lamont, come out and come back in. Because it's just we almost there. I promise you, we almost there. What's going on, Ricky? Did you hear some? Did you hear some of the conversation?
Oh yes, I did. And Lamont hit it right on the head. You know, with everything. He hit it right on the head with everything he was saying. You know, the way we're brought up in certain environments, especially in our inner city hood culture. You know, being tough, holding certain feelings and emotions in, and not showing your true feelings. And again, I'm not a professional, but I've went through it. I've had to deal with my own personal battles and dealing with those constructs as well.
Okay, so the question is, you know, knowing that, how do we? What's the correct methodology, and how do you go about teaching our young men that are coming up today, you know, that there is a difference, you know what I'm saying? And how do you face those challenges? Let me see if I can't get Lamont up in here with us. Let's see. Lamont, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Everybody will go?
Yep.
Ricky?
Yep.
Ricky. Okay, good.
I'm here.
So so Ricky, can you field that question for me right quick? And I think Lamont heard it and he can follow up.
I think the biggest thing is we got to get to these men before they become men. We got to get to these teenagers before they're teenagers. I think it's very early in the process. We got to make it okay for you to express your feelings, to make it okay for you to share amongst each other how you feel and how you processing certain emotions. Because as men, when you or any person, you know, when you go a certain number of years doing a certain things, you've created these habits. And now we get men who are broken, and it's hard to break those habits. You know, a lot of men can go to therapy, but you take a man who's 30, 40, 50 years old, he might try therapy, but it's so much unlearning to do that it becomes a very, very difficult task. And the way we defeat that is we start with the next generation. We start with younger kids and making it okay to feel certain ways and express those feelings with either parents, teachers, coaches, and also what I think most important, being able to share with each other, with their peers. Because a lot of times we feel like, well, I can't talk to my best friend about real stuff, real feelings, when you can talk to them about the basketball games and all the other stuff that's going on, the trivial things. But it's very hard to open up to a person who has your best interest in mind and who's closest to you. Who are the closest people to you? It's the people in your same demographic, in your same neighborhood, your same age. It's the people, and everybody's going through the same things, very similar things, but nobody's expressing it because we've been taught that it's not okay to express certain feelings. But we got to make it okay for the first grader, the second grader, the kid who's just about to get into middle school. You know, we got to make it okay at that age, at that level. I've been teaching
I think you froze up. Can you hear me, Lamont?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So do you have any rebuttal or anything to add to what Ricky's talking about?
So I definitely agree. We got to start with the younger ones, and then we have to also continue to work on the older ones, because that's who's going to have to teach the younger ones, because we can't teach what we don't know. And so that's what's happened generation after generation, is we've taught them exactly what we learned as kids. And so the first thing we got to do is we got to teach them there's a difference between being strong and pretending not to struggle with something.
Okay.
There's a difference between that. And too many people feel like, and men especially, is if I'm strong, I can't let anybody know, hey, I'm struggling with this over here. And what happens is when we don't deal with the little stuff, it becomes bigger later on. And so, like Ricky said, if we can ever get that circle that we can share with earlier on, then it won't blow up to be larger mental health illnesses like depression and anxiety because we tackle it head on. But we got to unlearn all those habits, like he said, because we've done it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then it then turns into this isolation of men where we try to isolate ourselves and carry it all by ourselves. And that becomes another huge issue.
Okay, so what are the biggest mental health challenges that the Black man is facing today? And I'm speaking specifically about the Black man because I can only be what I am. So, you know, I know that there are issues in the white race, there are issues in the Asian, Latino, no, Black folks. What are the biggest mental health challenges that we're facing today? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? You can't hear me? No? Can't nobody hear me. How about now? Can you hear me? Lamont. Ricky, Lamont, can you hear me?
Yes,
Nope.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Lamont, but we can't hear
Nope.
Okay.
You can't hear me?
From the studio. I can hear you just fine, Rick. You good. You good.
All right.
So the question that I was asking Lamont, and he'll be back here in just a minute, and he was piggybacking on what you were saying, and he was agreeing 100%. So the follow-up question was, what are the biggest mental health challenges that Black men are facing today? That was the follow-up in terms of the question. What are the biggest mental health challenges that Black men are facing today? Lamont, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, so go ahead on, Lamont, and then Ricky can follow up. Can you hear us, Ricky? Or did he freeze up again?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Lamont.
What was the question again?
What are the biggest mental health challenges that Black men are facing today?
I think it really starts with just being able to talk to people.
Okay.
Because I'm finding out that a lot of men now are going down this rabbit hole of depression and anxiety because they feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. If you were to poll 20 men today and ask them how many true friends do they have, most would tell you none. And because of that, they're in isolation, which turns into depression because they don't have anybody they can truly talk about those deep down things that they're dealing with because of that stigma of, oh, if you say you're struggling with that, then you're just weak. And so you got men that fall into this depression because of that. And so they just try to carry it by themselves.
Rev, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me, can you?
I can.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay. I thought you couldn't hear me, and Ricky's image is out. As long as you can hear me. You can't hear me now? I just went off? Man. Hold on a second, y'all. Can you hear me now?
Nope.
No? I'm gonna definitely. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Rick, can you hear me now? No,
I can't hear.
can't hear me either.
Nope, I can't hear you.
Let me read.
Lamont, can you hear me?
Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? No? No? I got to kick everybody out. Hey, boy, this conversation is getting good. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Hold tight. We're going to get everybody locked and loaded. We're just having technical difficulties. If y'all can hear me, let me know. If y'all can't hear me, the most important person to be able to hear right now, if y'all can hear me, let me know. Am I still locked in? Can y'all hear me? If y'all can hear me, we good. Yeah. We definitely getting into it, man. But let me make sure that everything technically is right, and we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna bring Lamont in, and I'm gonna bring Ricky in. Ricky, Lamont, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Ricky, Ricky, can you hear me, Ricky? Mr. Lewis, Ricky. I don't think he can hear me. That's okay. Yeah, he can't hear me. So bring him out and come back in. So yeah, we were talking about. Okay. All right, everybody in the virtual world, they say they can hear me just fine. So as long as it ain't on my end, I'm good. So, but we were talking about the biggest challenges that Black men are facing, right? So you were responding.
Yeah, so I was just saying it's isolation. It's isolation and not having anybody to truly talk to because they don't have friends who they feel like they can be honest with because of the stigma. And so because of that, it turns into depression because they continue to carry all of this weight, trying to be that strong man and getting it done and being a leader, being a husband, being a father, but they have no other release. And so because of that, they just carry it day after day after day. And it causes them to fall into this depression because they're just carrying it with no release.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ricky's back in. Let me see if I can get Ricky in. Can you hear Ricky? I can hear you, Ricky. Can you hear me, Lamont?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Ricky, I can hear you. I don't think Ricky can hear me. So, Lamont, I hear what you're saying, right? But you also wanting me to divulge things or sit down and talk with someone about matters that I hold dear and personal to my heart.
And that's the hard part.
Okay.
And that's the hard part because people don't want to share those things.
Right.
But they would rather hold them in and be depressed versus share it and feel the weight come off of them. And I'm talking from experience. Like I'm a person that's going to hold everything in. For years, that was me. I'm not telling you how I feel. I'm not telling you what I'm dealing with. I'm just going to hold it in. But I had to learn that I was doing nothing but hurting myself, my family, because now I'm becoming irritable because I'm holding all this in. I'm angry because I'm holding all of this in. So I'm no good for nobody. So I had to really come to the grips of either you're going to learn to share with somebody or you're going to lose everything that you have, including your family. And so you have to make a decision as a man. Do you want to lose all of that? Is it worth holding it in and losing everything you worked hard for? Or are you willing to share with somebody to get it out and have somebody talk through with you? Because the thing I've learned is the very things that we hold in, some of our friends have gone through the same thing. And they can tell you how to get through it, but you won't share it. And so the first thing we got to do is share it with people to get it out. But you got to get over that shame of not wanting to share those things.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Lamont?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. So, no, you haven't gone through what I've gone through. This is me talking now. This is me being open and vulnerable. This is me being who I am, saying there's no way, there's no way possible that you could have experienced or gone through what I've gone through. There's no way. There's no way that you are dealing with the weight of the world that I'm dealing with, the way that I'm dealing with it. No, there's no way that you can sit there and tell me that the loss of my friend's life and how it's compounding or affecting me, that you can express to me in any kind of way that I can tell you that I'm going through these things. You can't sit there and tell me the burdens of a financial situation when you're not in that financial situation. You can't tell me, you follow what I'm saying? I'm just trying to, you know.
So I can tell you from a spiritual.
Sometimes black men, yes, they want to sit there and have that conversation, but I don't trust you enough to do that. Where do you find that?
Right. So that's why it's so important to build that circle. Yeah, you're not going to share it with people you don't trust. You're not going to share it with people you don't think can connect with you. But that's why it's so important to put in the work to build those circles. Men don't have those circles like that. Women can do it all day long. They will share everything to everybody. Men won't do that. And that's why we're stuck in that cycle of just holding it in. And for me, I would tell you, if you can't share with your friend yet, then find you a therapist, because that's somebody you don't know, who doesn't have any judgment, doesn't know anything about you. It's a clear slate. And that's what I had to do. My wife is a therapist, but I couldn't go to her because of that shame, because of that guilt. So I had to get somebody outside of the house to start talking. Then over time, I built those skills up to be able to have those conversations with other men, to have those conversations with my wife. But I had to start outside of my circle first and then come back in to build that confidence, like, okay, it's not so bad to share this. Because what I learned was I felt better after sharing. Okay. You're never going to know that if you don't try. Right. And from a spiritual side, that's what the devil wants to do. He wants to isolate you into this pocket to make you feel like you can't talk to anybody and that you can't divulge these things to. Because as long as he got you isolated, he's going to continue to play with your mind, which is your mental health. And now you're in this depression because you chose to not want to share with anybody. And sometimes you don't find the right therapist the first time. Therapist is something you have to find that person that makes you feel comfortable enough to share with them. But too many people think, I tried this one, I ain't doing it no more because that didn't work. It's like any other thing. You got to keep trying it until you find that one that you can connect with and feel comfortable enough to divulge all of that inner stuff that you've been keeping a secret for so long.
Okay, now I'm going to get Ricky in on this and see if he's been, if he can hear the conversation, because I want to get his input. Let me see. Ricky, have you been listening? Okay. But I can't hear you now. But I want you to give your input, man. We jumping. We got a bunch of people on this thing paying attention, locked in, man. We can't let them miss this information, man. Because the follow up to what I'm going to ask you, Lamont, based on what Ricky's what I want to hear what Ricky's talking about as well, is, how does your faith help navigate, through all of this? What role does that play? Because you're saying go find someone else. In my mind, I've already found the only person I need to me, and that's God. So there's nothing that I can sit there and give to another individual, and this is me thinking in my mind, that's going to give me salvation or a release. So if if I have it, I bring it to God. Now, who else am I supposed to bring it to?
Okay, so let me ask you this question as a flip side. Mm-hmm. Do you think that God didn't create therapists? to
I
help us.
understand that he created the human diaspora. I get that, but I'm talking about in terms of me. This is just me as a man saying, who do I bring my burdens to? I can't bring my burdens to you if I just went and knocked off a liquor store. I can't bring my burdens to you if I just hit somebody over the head and I might have killed them. I can't bring my burdens to you if you're following what I'm saying. And I'm not putting that on me. What I'm saying is, in terms of things that people go through in their life, just like Damon Vega, he got stopped for a traffic ticket, right? And on the other side of that whole situation, he gets sentenced to 27 years, life in prison for attempted murder or for murder and burning down the house. He had nothing to do with it. So there again, trust, dealing with corruption, dealing with society, dealing with people, it's hard because you said isolation as you get older, not to stay isolated because you feel comfortable with what you know and the behaviors that you're already used to, And, and if I have to deal with that depression, if I have to deal with that little, hey, I don't know why I'm agitated, or I don't know why I'm aggravated, I don't know why I'm pissed off today, and if I just go talk to somebody, I'll be okay type stuff, talk to me. Let me know something.
So the first thing is having faith, salvation, that doesn't immune us from having emotional pain. That's life.
I agree.
That's life issues. Okay. So we deal with life as life deals with us. So really and truly, you have to build, like for me personally, how faith connected to this was I had brothers who I met in the church, and that's how I build my circle to be able to talk to people. So instead of being at home and being isolated, yeah, I believe in God, but I'm still at home in the corner talking to myself.
Right.
Instead, I went to church and I found brothers that I could talk to. I figured out who I could make my circle. And then I was able to have those conversations. See, I have a circle right now who we can talk about anything. Like we'll go fishing or we'll go smoke a cigar and we'll just talk about life and what life is doing. And most times what we find out is that we all dealing with the same thing and we sit here trying to hold it in. And when we finish that conversation, we feel strength, and there's scripture to back it up. People dealt with depression in the Bible. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Jesus dealt with it even before he went to the cross. He dealt with it. So it's a real thing that just because I got this faith,
that's a different type.
I still can do it.
That's a different type of depression, though. I mean, you got the whole weight of the world on your shoulders. Your father sitting there telling you, "Hey, man, you got to take it on the chin, regardless of what you think about it." You know what I'm saying? I feel you.
So, G,
hey, man, God, have you forsaken me?
So,
this ain't for me. This ain't for me.
G, so what's different than you got the whole world on your shoulder for your family?
Right. True.
It's the same. Agree. It's the same stress. It's the same pressure that men have to go through.
But I'm not washing away the sins of every individual because of my actions.
But every depression state is different. Yeah, that's different, but it's still depression. Me carrying my family's weight and not handling well is still depression. Depression is depression. It just may be deeper for some people than it is for the other. But we still got to deal with the root cause of the depression.
Okay. Ricky, you with us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Good. Okay. It's your time to shine, baby. I know you've been listening to the conversation, so go ahead and chime in while we got you. Go ahead, talk to us.
So, I think first of all, depression is probably the biggest mental health crisis that we have, and it comes to, I believe, it's success or lack of success, especially as a Black man. There's certain ambitious goals and stuff that we have that a lot of us are not attaining or achieving. And there's these expectations of us that a lot of us are not meeting. And I think that's what's causing it. The way society is looking at us and what we're supposed to be doing versus what we want to do, what we're feeling. And it goes back to my point that we have to get to young people earlier, because it's not hopeless, but once you up in age, once you 40 years old, 30 years old, man, you get set in your ways, and you don't want to go talk to somebody. You don't want to open up, even if you know that that's what you need to do. It's very hard. It's hard to, that ego and that pride takes over, and we suffer in silence, and sometimes to the point that it's too late, you know. And my focus my whole life has been not necessarily men, it's been young people. Like, how do we get to young people before they become men? Because it's much easier to raise that young person into a man than to fix a man. And I know that might be kind of harsh to say, you know, because nobody's out of the realm of being saved, but it's so much difficult. So I focus my efforts in young people.
Okay, so knowing that you're trying to touch younger lives, knowing that that's an important and is crucial to touch them. What's the age group? Before they hit 13, before they hit 18, what's the age group?
I think definitely before middle school, and in high school as well. But once a young man start living life as an adult, once he goes through that change and start feeling himself, once he's come out of puberty and he starts getting some hair on his face and his voice gets deep, he pretty much gets set, you know, and it's hard to break some of those habits. But I have men who come to me every day, and I try, and not only men but women as well come to me for help and saying, I'm having these issues, I'm having these problems. And it gets so frustrating from an advocate standpoint because I'm trying to help, but it's so hard for people to change. It's so hard for people to do the things that you suggest. And they understand that what you're saying is true, and they understand that, yes, this is what I really need, but it's so hard for them to take the action steps. It's so hard for them to break those habits because they've been doing it so long. And it is very unfortunate that people who are struggling and they realize that they are struggling and they realize they need to do something, but they can't put their foot forward. And that's where the health professionals come into play. How do you untrain an adult? How do you train an adult? How do you take an adult who is broken and fix them? And it's just been so hard for me. I've gotten to the point now, because I've been trying to help people for years, and I've gotten to the point now to where I almost don't want to help adults. Not necessarily don't want to help, but it takes so much energy and effort for me because I'm not a professional. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know what it really takes to get through to a 35-year-old man. Right. I don't know the process, but I know the process of what it takes to get through to young people because I've been dealing with young people for over 20 years. For as helping them through their trials and tribulation and their mental health issues. And even in that, I have a whole team of psychologists and counselors and stuff that we team up on young people to help them get through those. Well,
let me ask you this before we go too much further into it, because you tapped on something and then you kind of went away from it. I want to jump directly into it, and I'm gonna ask because Jarrell Braswell didn't join us as well. Comedian Jarrell Braswell, he's on the line with us too. We're gonna get his input in what we're talking about. But you said, you know, we don't want to get to the point to where it might go too far. So let's talk about that. And when we say go too far, that's either attempts of suicide or suicide in itself, right? Because depression can get so real that those are the thoughts, those are the things that we're talking about. So how do we address that side of it? Because like you say, sometimes we don't want to sit there and make that attempt to talk to someone and say, hey man, I'm watching your behavior. I'm seeing some things are erratic, and I know that you might be dealing with some suicidal tendencies. How do we get into that realm of it to be able to recognize the signs?
Well, you can, I mean, we all have these spidey senses, and they go off. And so we recognize it and we immediately want to address it. And I think we should, but I also think when it gets to that level, if you're not a real professional and know how to deal with that, that's not something you should be trying to. You should be passing that off to someone who's more capable, someone who is trained.
But what if we're talking about time-sensitive issues, and you know, I don't have time to get you to a therapist because you right there on the edge, but I'm recognizing it. You see what I mean?
I'm gonna pour my heart into you and give you what I have, and I'm gonna give you my time, and I'm not gonna let you go until I feel like you're in a good place. Right. I'm not gonna let you go. I'm not gonna say, well, I can't help you and walk away. I'm gonna stay there as long as I need, because I'm not gonna be able to deal with the situation where you did something and I could have prevented it, or I just left you alone. I washed my hands or whatever. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. And now we're talking about me having to deal with those emotions of stuff, of loss, of someone who has did something, harmed themselves, because now it has triggered. And even with that, you know, helping a person understand that their life is affected or affecting everyone else's life around them.
Right.
You know, that like just saying, suicide it doesn't just affect the person.
That's
it affects everybody. It affects communities. It affects mothers, daddies, kids, everybody. And it's in my opinion, if we could get them to understand that you taking your life, you harming yourself, is not doing just something to you, it's doing something to the people that you love and care about. Like, everybody's going to be here when you're gone, and they have to deal with the fact that you're gone. Right. And there's people who love you. There's people who love you, who care about you, who you're going to break. So, it's a touchy situation when you start talking to people who's in that mind space, but because you want to tell them that is selfish, but if you're not trained to approach them in that way, if you're not trained to approach them, you might drive them even further down that road. Right. Okay. So it's a tough, tricky situation. It really is.
So Lamont, talk to us.
So I would just add to what Ricky said when he said at that point they need the professional help. So me personally, I would try to get to the person and then get them to the help. Like, I'm not going to steer you in the right direction. I'm going to take you to the professional to be able to help you, because that's above what I can do. So if you at that point, I got to get you to the professional who can help you. And there's a lot of resources. There's a hotline that we can call together and let them talk you through it, because those are the professionals. But I want to share a couple of stats with you since we're talking about suicide. It says men are 3 to 4 times more likely to die by suicide than a woman. And then going back to what Ricky said earlier about trying to get to the younger people, by 2021, suicide rates among Black and brown boys ages 10 to 19 had risen over 60%. And so we're not even talking about upper teenagers all the time. Like, we're talking about 10-year-olds are now in this position where they are carrying so much inside of them that they are dealing with suicide ideation and wanting to kill themselves. So you're absolutely right, Ricky. We got to reach out to those younger ones. And when we talk about the older ones, it's very hard to get them to change. But they have impact on others because they got kids, they got boys. So we got to give them some attention too, because they're going to affect the next generation of kids, because that's what we are. We are a product of what we were taught as kids. And so in order to break the cycle, we got to get to the older ones as well as the younger ones in order to embed those skills and abilities to be able to deal with these things, because we just don't deal with emotions well as men.
Okay. And we're talking about dealing with emotions. And that is a very, it's a sensitive topic, but we had to discuss it. It had to be touched. And y'all are giving me some very sound answers, but we're not really digging off into it because of what I don't know. And all of us have dealt with people that have either committed suicide, have actually, had a family member that has dealt with it, and we know the ramifications that, the fallout from it. So, one statement was, we don't want to tell folks that they're being selfish because we might steer them down the wrong direction. So is that really true when you're dealing with a mental health issue? You see, when you're dealing with something mental, you're not even thinking about what's selfish or not selfish. You're thinking about what you're going through strictly. Yes?
Right.
Right. So I would tell you, through my own journey in therapy and dealing with mental health and depression, the therapist, the person who's been to school, who has the expertise, told me it's okay for you to be selfish. Sometimes you got to look out for your own mental health. And that's something that we struggle with, is we feel like we're being selfish, and yet we're providing for everybody else, trying to make sure everybody else is good, and we killing ourselves. And so that was a really hard thing that we worked through for weeks. And I still struggle with it sometimes. Like, you got to be okay with saying, I got to take care of me. I can't worry about you right now. I got to work on my mental, because I'm dying inside, because I'm trying to take care of myself and you. So we got to get to the point where we make it a priority for us as men. We got to make it a priority. And the only way to do that is to do it. That's the only way, is to do it. And I can tell you, even for myself, I talk my own self out of doing stuff to help me with my own mental health. I'll talk myself out of it. No, I'm not going to do that today. Okay. But then I'll go and jump through hoops for everybody else in the family.
Right. So let me ask you this. And this is real conversation, right? Because you're saying you got to find a mental health professional, or whatever the case may be. How can you assist me if I'm having these thoughts of suicide, right? I'm still lingering in that topic. If you've never done it yourself, how can you even begin to know what I'm dealing with mentally to drive me to the point to want to harm or injure myself like that? You ain't never done it, but you're gonna tell me
how do you know I haven't?
I mean, well, you got to make me hold on a second. Let me bring you up on the screen. You got to make me understand that we're at that level. I'm not saying that you have to have attempted or committed, but I'm saying, from the individual standpoint who's thinking about jumping off the cliff, so to speak, how can you know the depth of what I'm going through? To sit there and say, hey, man, I can help you resolve your issues and walk you back off that cliff.
I think most of us have been there.
Okay.
We may not have gotten to the exact point, but we've been down the same road. And I have empathy. I have empathy for people, because, to be honest, and I'm an open book. Like, I've been there. I don't deal with people based off of theory. I deal with people based off of experience, and my own experience. And I've been there. I've went through a depression so deep that I didn't think anybody else went through what I went through. But come to find out, when I did open up and I did get help and I did start talking to people, the people who are willing to share, they've been through the same things. Yeah. And that's the problem, is that we don't talk about it. You might
Don't
get
talk about
50
it.
people on this podcast to talk, or just 50 people to get to talking about stuff, and they've been through some of the same stuff as you, but 49 of them won't say it. They won't tell you how bad it was for them, because we still dealing with that vulnerability of opening up and expressing what we've been through. That pride and that ego is a killer.
Yep.
But I've gotten to the point in my life where the truth is the truth. I don't mind sharing. I don't mind telling you exactly what I've been through and why and what has helped me. So I have that in my quiver, my toolbox. I have that real experience that I can relate to people.
Okay. Lamont?
And I think more people have it. They just don't share it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree totally with you, Ricky. And I think it just starts with, you can't build that relationship as soon as you get into the fire. Like, those are relationships you have to build prior to you having to deal with these issues, so that you're comfortable enough to share. Yeah,
Right.
it's hard for you to share with your brother if you are not close. But once you're close, there's nothing you won't share with them, because you understand, I don't have no reason to be embarrassed. I know you're not going to judge me about it. You're going to help me walk down there, and we're going to talk through it. And guess what? If I ain't got the answers for you because I ain't been through it, I know how to go find some help for you, though. And I can lead you down that path. So I may not have all the answers. I may not have dealt with that exact situation you dealt with, but I've dealt with depression. I've dealt with holding these things in. So guess what? I can lead you to some help, though, to a professional that can help you talk you back off that ledge. So it's just a matter of using your resources. And if you don't know what the resources are, at least you know somebody who can get you to the resources.
And I don't want anybody to ever feel the way I felt. I don't
That's
want,
me too.
when I get an inkling of somebody is in a situation like I was in mentally, oh my goodness, things start going off and I start remembering, and those feelings start coming back, and I have that real empathy to where, let me help you. Like, I understand what you're going through. I know I've been there. My whole life almost just fell completely apart. And I'm so thankful that I came out of it. And I can only imagine people who are going through that same situation or the same feelings and emotions, and people who have it even worse than that. Like, it's hard. It's hard to see people in that space. That's a horrible space. And I thank God that I'm out of it, and I've been out of it so long. And now I recognize when those little signs start coming up that I'm starting to get into that space. I know what to do to get myself out of it. And it goes back to what Lamont was saying, is now I'm being selfish. Now it's about me. Now I got to say no. Now I got to put everything aside and take care of myself. Now I got to get physically, mentally, emotionally in shape to where I have to block certain people off. And some of the people are people that I love. Some of the people are people who depend on me, but you can't depend on me if I ain't here. You can't depend on me if I'm in a bad place.
Yep.
Because I didn't take care of myself. And
okay, so
yeah.
So here's the question then. Is based on what both of you are saying, I have to get your thoughts in terms of what is right now a healthy male. What does a healthy male in a leadership role look like in present day 2026? And I'm asking that because based on the numbers, based on statistics, and based on the way things are going from the purview, single parent homes are on the rise. Educational dropouts are on the rise. And, you're dealing with young men and women, and I wouldn't even call it a latchkey society, right now. I don't even know what you call this society. Because, at least Latchkeys had something to go home to, lock the door, had sandwich, this, that, and other. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Present day, they have nothing. So make me understand, what does leadership, male leadership, look like present day? Are you there, Ricky? Ricky's not there? Okay. Lamont, you heard the question?
Yep, I heard it.
Okay, so give me a rundown on that.
If I had to answer that question, the first thing I would say is balance. Like, that's what a strong man looks like. It has to be balanced, both mentally and physically. Because for so long, everybody said a leader, a man, was one who provided for his family, who took care of his kids, who did all of those things. But we're learning now as we get older, it's much more to it than that. It's a whole lot more to it because, you're doing all of that, and yet your mental stability is in the trash. And so a strong leader now has to have both of those things working together to make a whole person, a whole healthy man. And until we get that balance, we're going to continue to see these statistics rise because we don't spend the time to be able to work on those things. We got to normalize it's okay to be not okay. It's okay. Now, let's find the help and let's find the support. You've admitted it. I'm not okay. That's the first step, is to admit it. I'm not good. Because that's where I was. I had to admit I'm not okay. Everybody else saw it. My wife saw it. I didn't see it. So I had to admit it first. Then I had to find the support through therapy. And then I was able to open up to my circle of brothers. Hey, man, I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with this. The amount of weight that comes off your shoulders, like I tell my friends now, I was like, I look forward to my hour talk with my therapist. Because sometimes it's just been about work, just getting the work stress out. And because I got that out in that hour therapist, I'm a better husband when I get home. I'm a better father when I get home because I've gotten that stress out. Just that little stuff changed me as a person to be able to be who I need to be for my family and on my job. And so we just got to normalize it, and we got to create these safe places for men to get together and to just talk. Just be candid and talk about it without judgment. But you got to find that circle again. You got to find out, who is my circle? Who's my circle of brothers? Because I got a lot of friends, but I don't share all this with all of them. But there are certain friends I can talk about these. I can be my honest self with them and talk to them about the things I struggle with. And like I said, at the end of it, we're all better because we were dealing with the same thing. They holding theirs over here, and I'm holding mine over there, and all we have to do is talk about it. And now we're in a better place.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of normalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
So, but the question is, yeah, but the question is, and you can follow on with your rebuttal. It's what makes, what does a healthy male look like in leadership role in 2026? So I think that's the impact of it.
I think it's one who is open and honest. Someone who is not afraid to be vulnerable. Someone who's going to tell the truth. Someone who's going to have empathy for others because you know what they're going through and you're dealing with, and you can be there. You share of your time, you share of your resources, and you're not afraid to speak candidly about the things you've went through in the past, the things that you're dealing with in the present, and any issues that will ever come in the future. To go back on Lamont, like my therapy sessions now is with my small little group of brothers. And it feels so good now because now we talk. Now it ain't when we all in a big powwow together, but I may call one may call me, and it'd be like, hey,
need to talk. And you already know what that means.
Yeah.
So when I get that phone call, I'm on my way, and I do more like when it's coming from the other, I do more listening than talking. Because a lot of times all it is I got to get this out. I have no outlet.
Yep.
Now you've created this circle of brothers, of true friends that you can actually express yourself to without being the fear of being judged. But at first, we always in fear of being judged. But it takes somebody to open up the can. It takes somebody to say, hey man, I really need to talk to you about this. And it may take a little while, but then once you open up, if you got a true friend, a true brother, then he's going to open up. And like Lamont said, you're going to find out, you're going to figure out that everybody's going through the same things. It's just nobody was ever talking about it before. 2026, we got to be open. We got to be honest. We got to find our circle, and we got to be willing to be vulnerable with them so that we can get that therapy that we need. Okay, so we have some comments and some responses. So give me one brief moment. Just a brief one. You know how we are. We have quite a few people in the stream and the live. So in the meantime, while y'all waiting, while I'm queuing this stuff up so I can read some of these questions or comments, this segment is being brought to you by the Butterfly Collection. Today's episode of Industry Talk is proudly sponsored by the Butterfly Collection. That's right, the Butterfly Collection is here. Gentle stories, big lessons, bright imagination. Books are available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Ingram Spark by author Angel Williams. These books are perfect for pre-K programs, kindergarten classrooms, elementary schools, classroom libraries, bedtime reading, and SEL programs. Be sure to get your copy today. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Kiara Smith says, fear drives a lot of it. Fear of being called crazy, unhinged, or being told you'll be okay. Lerone Lewis says, it's hard to admit things when many people are depending on you. Being open and honest, yes, they definitely agree. Angel Williams, trying to find the triggers that are irritating. You know what I'm saying? This is just some of the things that they were making reference to through the conversation. Holly Marie, a closed mind will never know what the next one is going through because their attitude is, you've never been through what I've been through. So just going back through some of the topic, it starts at home. Kiara Smith says, it starts at home with Black families for simple statements like, boys don't cry, don't be a girl, so these are some of the things that we're seeing through the feed. Jonathan Shaw states everyone's had those suicidal thoughts, even if they don't want to admit it. And you made reference to that just a little bit, Ricky. Angel Williams, anxiety and panic attacks play a role in some of the things that people are going through. Holly Marie, because they are unbiased, we're talking about therapists, they don't know who you are. It's a judgment-free zone. And therapists cannot disclose your personal experiences by law. I don't care what HIPAA say. They talking to somebody. You talking to them, they talking to somebody. I hear you, but I don't hear you. Once you find someone that can help you find ways to cope, that's where the trust comes in. Okay, and I truly agree with that. Now, moving right along, and we got I can go back through this whole feed. We got a lot of input here, and this is a great conversation, gentlemen. Let me get both of you back up here on the screen. Can y'all both hear me still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good deal. So why don't we like going to the hospital? Why don't we like going to the doctor? Why don't we like getting ourselves checked? What's going on with Black men in America and staying on top of?
Let me tell you why.
Talk to me.
The reason why Black men don't go to the doctor, they don't go to seek mental health professionals because their daddy didn't. and his daddy didn't, and his daddy didn't. That's the bottom line. Once we start going now, we be the change we want to see in the world. We start a whole new trend. And that's the bottom line. Like now
Hold
I
on,
do
hold
things.
Hold on, Rick. I can take me some Robitussin, man. I can take some Tussin. I can put a little Castrol on it and take a little aspirin and go shake it off.
That's what your daddy said. That's what his daddy said, and that's what his daddy said, and it hasn't led to the results that we want. So we have to be the change that we want to see. We got to start. Somebody has to break the cycle. Somebody has to start. I started, and it is not just for me. It's so that my sons will follow in my footsteps, because your actions will be duplicated. They will be replicated. And so my sons' sons will see their fathers do that, and their sons, and so on and so forth. But it's going to take somebody to bite the bullet and say, you know what? The results that we're getting now in America, the results that we're getting in our community is not the results that we want. We have too many males having too many issues. We're having too many issues of depression. We're having too many issues of mental health issues, of suicides, and all these things. If someone can just put their foot down and say, you know what, I am going to the doctor. You know, I talk to all my friends now. I talk to my sons. I done had prostate exam. I done had colonoscopy. I done had everything that I'm supposed to get that my father didn't get, my father's father didn't get, and so on and so forth. So I have to be the one to make it normal. So now when my sons get to that age to where it's time for them to start doing these things, when they sick, when they hurting, it's time for them to go to the doctor. They'll go to the doctor and won't say, I ain't going to the doctor. I'm going to get some Robitussin because shoot, my daddy ain't never go to the doctor. And that's the bottom line. We can't continue to doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows that's insanity. But somebody has to do it. Somebody has to make the change. Somebody has to start the process of being okay with actually dealing with all of these issues that we have and dealing with them in a way that's going to lead to the right results. And that's by going to actual medical professionals, going to actual mental health professionals. Like I could care less now with the stigma. Like I've broken through that. Yeah. You know, I don't mind telling people that I have a therapist, that I seek counseling, that I seek help for my issue. I don't have a problem with that. You can laugh all you want. You can say what you want. You can call me names. You can say I'm not tough. I'm not a man. You can say I'm soft. I'm weak. You can do all of that. But I'm going to be okay. And my kids are going to be okay. And my kids' kids are going to be okay because we starting this practice with me.
So, Lamont, talk to us. What you got?
I agree 100% with everything Ricky said. Like, we have to be that change. Yes, that's what our parents and grandparents said. And that's why they died from all these different issues at an early age, for a lot of them at an early age. And so we got to be the difference. We got to make it okay. And we have to normalize it and change the trajectory for our families. It's just like Ricky said, because I saw what therapy and going to the doctor did for me, I have no problem sharing it with everybody else now. Like, that's my goal now on earth now. If you talk to my friends, I'm always talking about, go get you a therapist. Go to the doctor, because I know what I went through. And like Ricky said, I don't want nobody else to go through that, because I was on that edge. So I don't want anybody, because somebody else may not find the help in time. So it's up to me to share my story like an open book, hoping that somebody else would be inclined to be like, you know what, I need to go get some help too. Or I need to go to the doctor and get that checked out. I have a friend at church. I stayed on him probably for 2 months. Hey man, you need to go get you a physical. Hey man, you need to go get you a physical. He finally did it. And the good thing, everything was good, but he felt a relief that he finally went and got it done. So, you know, it's just a matter of us sharing that and breaking the cycle. Like, we got to make health a priority for men. And for so long back in the day, health was not a priority for men. You had to go get it. If you had the flu, you had to get up and go get it. But now we got to make it a priority that our health, because we need to be here for our kids and our grandkids, because we see what the world is now. So if we're not here to teach them, who's going to teach them?
Good stuff, bro.
Okay. Good stuff. I'm hearing you. I'm picking up what y'all putting down. I'm tracking it. So let's move in a little bit of a different direction. We're gonna come back to that because I do want my men out there, young men and older men alike, to understand. Let me get both y'all on the screen here. I want y'all to understand that what Ricky and what Lamont are saying is real. I'm being unbiased and I'm trying to be practical here because at the same time they're agreeing with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Two men are agreeing with a lot of things that are being said. So I really can't be the protagonist in this situation because I agree with what they're saying as well. Okay. But I still have to play the part. Let's move in this direction. Like I said, we're going to come back. Why is it that Black men in America get hit with the stigma of being homophobic? Why is that seem like that's a narrative or that's driven when in fact I've never, me personally, coming from where I come from, in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, I never had that stigma in terms of being homophobic or afraid to have friends that are gay or that may be homosexuals. Why is it that is being cast on Black men as though we are homophobic?
Probably because we are.
Okay.
I mean,
just being real, keep it real.
Yeah, keeping it real. I know a lot of Black men that, in my opinion, I feel like they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where that comes from, again, we're gonna repeat this cycle, is because they daddies was that way, and they daddies were that way.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately for me, I am not. I know homosexual men. I've been around them my whole life, and I haven't had an issue for as being around them and being comfortable. But I know people who haven't been around them, and they've been on the outside looking in, and they have these preconceived notions, and they feel certain type of ways. And
well, let me say this, Rick. Let me say this. Coming from where we were raised, right, and people that we were raised around, it was never an issue. It was never brought up like it's an issue.
Right.
Only in what society is making it, right, in terms of what they talk about and what they present as though it's an issue. If you go to New Orleans and you go to Bourbon Street and you go to Mardi Gras, you walk down Bourbon Street, it's the norm. You understand what I'm saying? And it's been the norm for a long time. This is nothing new.
It's your environment. It's your environment. If you don't have people of alternative lifestyles in your culture, your macro culture, of course you're going to feel. A lot of people will feel some type of way about it. But if you grew up in New Orleans in that environment, you're not gonna. It's environmental. That's basically it. A lot of people, even with racism, when I went to Montana for the first time, all these people looking at us, on the baseball team, and we like, man, what is going? Like, a lot of them never saw Black people in person, back then, and you have to be a part of the system. You have to be a part of a system to understand the system. If you're on the outside of the system, you think it's something wrong with it because it's not part of your world. And I think that's where we are in society now. You have a lot of people who've been kept away from certain people, certain demographics, and when they're exposed to them, they feel some type of way, in that homophobic nature comes out. But I guarantee you, if you take a person who may be kind of homophobic and they're thrust into maybe a job or something to where they're around people often enough, the shield will go down. The shield will go down. I mean, I think it's just it's one of those environmental factors.
Lamont?
No, I agree with everything he said. I couldn't have said it different. Like, it's the environment. And it's what we were taught
Right.
because we wasn't used to being around that type of people. So when you were put in that environment, I mean, it's the same thing with mental health. It's the same thing with mental health. It's the exact same thing because that wasn't part of our environment. Is why we're so afraid to do it. But people that were raised in an environment that embraced it are a lot further along on this journey of mental health. So it's just based on your environment.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Environment controls a lot.
So I get it, and so maybe where I'm coming from with how I talk and being as direct about some things, and knowing that I've been surrounded by or have relationships or friends that are, my conversation might be kind of rough around the edges when I talk to people, because there's no malice or ill intent when, I'm not trying to show you that I'm cool with you. I'm trying to show you that I don't give a damn which way you're going, right? So I might have a male friend that is a homosexual, and our conversation might be different, but, one of his partners might come around, and I might tell him, man, shut your sweet ass up. You get what I'm saying? And his partner might get offended because I'm talking to him the way we have conversation. You see, so you might get offended because you're feeling a particular way, thinking I'm being offensive to you, when I'm just having general conversation with my friend. I have a homosexual friend. I have plenty of homosexual friends, and our conversation is just like any of my other friends because we're friends. I don't categorize you as being this or that. You see, and so what happens is when you're out in the world, and I'm moving out in the world, talking to people like I'm talking to my friends, and people get upset because they think I'm being offensive. When in fact,
you are being offensive because you allowing somebody to hear or be privy to the way you.
Oh, man, froze.
You done went out, Rick. Damn.
Oh, so what I was.
You picked your one out, Rick. You picked your one out. I'm gonna bring you back up. Lamont. See, it always happens when the conversation getting good. Come on back in, Rick. So help me out, Lamont, because Rick was about to go into his part of it, and make me understand a little bit about where he's coming from, to whereas it is offensive. Okay, here he is. Here he is.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I think what he was about to say was you are offensive to that person. So we have to be careful as human beings to understand our audience. Yeah, this may be how I talk to my friend, but you're not my friend.
Lamont,
you came into this area.
Lamont,
so you were being, huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I jump in there?
Yep.
All right, Big G. You're a Mason, right? Big G?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
You a Mason?
I am.
Okay. So it's 3 or 4 of you Masons talking, and y'all talk. When somebody else that's not a Mason come around, are you gonna talk the same way when they're around?
Are we out in public?
Yeah.
Yes. You know why? Because I don't talk large business out in public.
Well. Okay, so you're missing my point. My point.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying. Am I gonna talk?
My point is, everybody's not privy to the conversations that you have with your friends. Everybody's not privy to the same conversation that you have with certain people. And so before I got cut off, you were being offensive to that person because even though you talk to your friend who's homosexual a certain way, you don't know how another person is going to take that. And so we have to be empathetic to all people, you know. And some people don't.
Now we're walking along the lines of being politically correct in terms of how we hold conversation.
Right. And you can you could be politically correct or not, but there's a certain result that comes from you not doing that. There's a certain result to you come for you not code switching. There's a certain result that comes to you from not doing things that's going to get you further in certain areas that you want to get further in. And it's okay for you to do that, but you got to accept the results. You got to accept the fact that, okay, every time I come around, this dude acts homophobic. I'm not going to deal with him. When something comes up, we need to employ certain people in certain situations. We're not going to use him because of the way he talks and the language that he uses. Even though it's okay with one friend, but his friend might not be okay with it. So you end up losing opportunities and things of that nature. And that's perfectly fine if you're okay with that. If you're okay with those results that you're going to get from being the way you're being. There's people in this world who are very homophobic, who don't shy away from it and are not going to change at all. They don't want to change. And so they'll get a certain set of results that other people who say, okay, I'm going to be empathetic. I'm going to try to understand, and I'm going to be a little more sensitive towards certain people about things. You know, I don't agree with homosexuality. I don't believe that is right, but I have nothing against people who are. And I had an issue with a close person in my life that thought I had a problem with her because she was homosexual. I have no problem with her, and I've never dealt with her any kind of different way because she was. But I do express or have expressed that I don't believe that that's right. Biologically, I don't believe that's right. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm not going to treat people differently, and I'm not going to.
But that's a part of the conversation, because love is love. Now, who you love is who you love.
Right.
Okay.
And I have no problem with you, because I believe you have the right to do whatever it is you want to do. And who am I to judge you about what you do? Because there's a whole bunch of things that you could judge on me about what I do, even though they're different. We all have to live this life of ours on our own terms, and you get to choose the way you're going to live it. Okay. And I'm okay with it, even when I don't agree with what you're doing.
Right. So Lamont, talk to me. You've been like a little church mouse over there on the topic. So I'm gonna let you chime on in. Come on, talk to me.
Yeah, so I feel like he hit the nail on the head at the end of what I was gonna say. Is I can't judge you because there's no sin bigger than the other.
Hold up, Rev. We can't, but we do every day. Let's not do that. Do that. We judge people every day. We make that statement, but we know doggone well that we judge, man. We cast judgment and aspersions on people based on our own predilections, and whether it's right or wrong, so please help me out with it. Talk to me.
It doesn't make it right. Yeah, we do judge, but we're not supposed to.
There's no action tied to it, though. You're right. We judge people just in our mind, but some people judge people and they treat them based off of that prejudice. I judge people every day. You're right. But I'm not going to act on that judgment and do something differently towards you or hold you in a negative way because of some idea or thought that popped in my head. There's a difference between judging somebody. Like everybody judge. Everybody have these preconceived notions and these thoughts pop into our heads that we can't stop. But I always check myself. Well, I ain't gonna treat him differently because he acted like that or he did that or I think he's that way. So there's a thin line between judging somebody and judging somebody to the point to where you change your actions or try to make them change their actions. Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's almost like judging without condemnation.
Right.
Like you can judge but not condemn them.
Yeah.
Because you have no right to condemn
anybody.
Right.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. So finish your point, Lamar. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Yeah, because everybody has their feeling. Everybody has their opinion. So you can have an opinion about it and still not act upon that opinion and treat them any different. Again, just biblically, we have no right to judge, like, because we have our issues too. So people could judge us the same way. So who gives us the right to cast judgment on somebody? That's their life. That's their decision. That's between them and their God. I can have my opinion about it, but at the end of the day, I don't have to answer for what they said and what they did. So I operate from that standpoint. It's like I can feel a certain way, but who am I to judge you? Live your life, do it how you feel. All I can do is try to tell you how I feel. You don't have to accept how I feel about it. But
Okay. I don't know where this statement went, but Kiara put a great statement up here about homophobia, and it disappeared. I don't know where the hell it went. I wanted to read that. I wanted to read the statement. Keep going, Lamont, while I'm looking for
that was it. That was it.
Okay.
I mean, we just don't have a right to judge, point blank.
Right.
Blank life. We have no what's the right word? We just don't have no way to judge because we all are flawed. Flawed. We're all flawed in our own issues. And
Right.
no
So
issue is
basically-
different than other issue.
Yeah, basically what Kiara was saying is that, it was in reference to, Bourbon Street and how society may view individuals that are, that have an alternative lifestyle, tourists that come in. We see it as the norm, because we've seen it pretty much all of our lives, right? And when I say it, what I'm saying is just like interracial relationships was odd when it first hit the scene. A black man with a white woman. Oh my gosh, that's so taboo. You don't talk about that, right? But even during that time, you had folks that were afraid, and this is where I'm coming at it from. They were afraid to come out of the closet because of being looked upon as a freak or something other than human, which in itself is inhumane, right? If we're talking about equality, if we're talking about, yes, you might necessarily agree with my lifestyle. You might not necessarily agree with what I do or who I love, because that's who I love. That's who I've learned to, or who I want to share my life with. And that comes in so many different ways. Now, whether you say it's genetic, whether it's biological, I've learned to love someone, however I may have fallen into this situation and into this category, you can't sit there and say that I don't love this person. You can't break that chain of where I fostered this love and grown to love an individual. And so you can talk about church, you can talk about this, religion, the different aspects, or personal affinity of what you don't want. And yes, we cast judgment, but at the same time, does that make that person not human? You see? And that's the part that's the civil rights part, and the part that the LGBTQ community are fighting right now when we're talking about equality, when we're talking about, hey man, yes, I want to be treated equal, but we go above and beyond because you don't treat me equal. You treat me as though I'm a fucking freak. And so when we deal with it from the standpoint of, hey man, if I can have a conversation with you as a human being, as a friend, and this is how I talk to my friends, if I'm having barbershop talk, if I'm having gym talk, and things come out that might not necessarily impress upon you, or you might make you feel jaded or away, you shouldn't feel that way, because that's not malice coming from me. There's no vitriol coming from me. So that's the point that I'm trying to make. But when you sit there and you have an onus about what someone else does, what their preferences are, then that's where the homophobia, I believe, comes in from. Because if I don't feel any way about what it is that you do, just like Kiara was making mention, when you use the term nigger, N-I-G-G-E-R, what's the difference between that? What's the difference between that and N-I-G-G-A? It's the same thing. You can't sit there and say the connotation of this word and the connotation of that word and the stereotype of this word and that word means something different. It does not. It does not. It's the same exact thing. It's just that we made NIGGA cool, so to speak, when none of it is cool, right? So if in fact we want to be conscious and serious about the conversation as it relates to Black men and how we feel about individuals with alternative lifestyles, we have to look at ourselves and say, do we really love ourselves? Because I don't care what you do over here. Tell me what am I missing, Lamont? I mean, make me understand something.
No, I think you're absolutely right what you said, actually.
Okay.
Actually, like that's how, like, we can't judge. Like, we can't judge. We have to love and we have to show love. You don't have to agree with it,
Right.
but you have to show love. And I think that's where it gets cloudy, is people feel like if you love it, you agree with them. No, because you could not love me because I do something that you don't like. So it's not about that. It's about us showing love to everyone, no matter what. That's between them and their God again. My job is to love you no matter what.
No
as
matter
long as
what.
I did my job, I'm good.
Okay. And I just wanted to get some clarity there, because I don't want to leave that open-ended as though, Black men have an issue with homosexuals, you see, or the alternative lifestyle, because I don't believe that's the case, me personally. And Rick definitely hit on it. Because his answer was yes. Black America, for some odd reason, does have a crisis or an issue, but I don't believe it's as serious or it's as so obtuse as we seem or want to make it, because you don't have Black folks out in the streets that are.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, damn. Okay. How about now, Rick? Anything now, Rick? You're gonna have to come back out. Okay. But yeah, Lamont, getting back to it. So and so I don't want people to be confused about what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? As it relates to how we deal with people, how we deal with humanity, because we always talk and we joke about it, but nobody ever really wants to address the issue. And I think it's an issue and it needs to be talked about. Why? Because I don't believe that that's the case. And we're being cast out as just homophobics. And that's not true. When in fact, hey man, we just have a general conversation. Yeah, I might not necessarily agree to the lifestyle, but you can't make me out to be a racist, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think it has to be talked about more. I think we don't talk about it enough. And the more we talk about it, the more we can understand it.
Well, how can you talk about it when you have a teenage boy who may be experiencing what he's experiencing, and he can't talk to you because he's afraid, once again, that he's going to be looked at as just odd. You follow what I'm saying?
I think that's the excuse we can use for everything, though. If I'm honest, that's the excuse we can use for everything.
True, but
so it has to get to a point where we are so convicted by what we believe and what we want to accomplish that we have to stop using that as the excuse.
I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm talking about a teenage kid wanting to come out of the closet, but he can't because of the peer pressure. He can't because of what his friends or what society may think about him, and how his parents might view him. There's so much to unpack with that situation. And I'm talking about in Black society, when young men are dealing with that and they can't, because there again, we're dealing with mental health issues. We're dealing with the mental health situation, and you keep beating it down like, no, this isn't, because as young men are raised, you know what I'm saying? No, don't play with them dolls. Don't put on that dress. Don't do this, that, and the other. No, that's gay. That's just you hear all of these things. You hear these adhands. You can't say that you don't. You get what I'm saying? You know, you grew up in a 2-parent household. I know your pops was strict.
Very
You get what I
much
mean?
so.
And he wasn't going for that shit. Right?
Correct.
My bad, Rev. I didn't mean to cuss. But you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He wasn't going for that. So if in fact you've seen, and plus the neighborhood you grew up in, and if you've seen anything along the lines of he might have a little sugar in his tank, right? We try to beat the sugar out the tank.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, talk to me. Am I wrong? As opposed to how do we deal with making these young men understand, and even young women who deal with alternative lifestyle as a lesbian, understand that, hey man, you know, I can't empathize with you. I don't know what you're going through. How do I walk through this with you? Make me understand it. How do you talk to a teenager about something like that?
I think you need therapists. I'm not qualified
we keep
because I don't understand it.
Therapists, but they don't even have a true understanding of what it is. They don't. And I'm still stuck on the fact that you love who you love. You care about who you care about. And if you can't open yourself up to accept that, then you'll never be privy to open yourself up to understanding how another man can love another man and be intimate with another man, or another woman being intimate with another woman. You'll never have comprehension or understanding of that. If you're not open up enough to be like, hey man, I get it. I don't get on with it, but I get it.
I can't answer that one, G.
The whole world is lost in this topic. I mean,
they're not lost. They're not lost because you have a large majority of LGBTQ individuals that are ready to answer the questions, just that we're not asking them. We're already assuming, we're already putting ourselves into a position of power, knowing that something is wrong with them. And that's not the case. So I'm asking y'all this because, for one, I'm coming from Reverend Lamont Mitchell, church side of it. I'm asking Ricky, because you've written a book, The Self-Directed Shift, in terms of how you deal with your life. You know what I'm saying? So you have, from the societal view and landscape, and just going through your lives, period, you've seen and experienced different individuals in different walks of life, and y'all know what people are dealing with, whether you are or you aren't, and you know the societal norms and what we do and don't put up with. And if we're going to break those chains, there again, just like even with mental health, we have to break down the bars and the barriers of our minds in terms of how we view individuals that live alternative lifestyles. That's all I'm trying to get at. Because the follow-up with that is, you see, you already should know what the follow-up is. Why do men cheat? We have to ask the question, because if we're going to deal with mental health issues, if we're going to deal with the mental health crisis, then we have to ask ourselves, because this is one thing that we as Black men deal with, or men in general deal with, why do we cheat? And if we're not cheating, then why are we lying to ourselves about the cheating?
Are we shifting into that conversation now?
Well, we're gonna segue into it, but you know, we still have some stuff to address. But I'm just letting you know where it's going. So I'm just giving you a little head of steam to be like, okay, this is what we're talking about. But let's come out of one and smooth slide into the next. Who want to jump onto it first? Lamont, yes, go right ahead.
I think any cheating comes from having a need that's not being met. I think that's where all cheating starts from. There's a need that your spouse or your girlfriend is not meeting. And so if I had to give an explanation, is you don't have to cheat, but you do have to communicate those expectations. If you're in a relationship with somebody, if there's a need that's not being met, then you have to communicate that. And if that person is truly in love with you, then they're going to do their best to meet that need. But to go out and cheat and not express that need to that person and communicate that to that person is very unfair.
So you're saying that there's always an exigent need. You know, I mean, are you trying to tell me that men can't sit there and disassociate themselves? There has to be a need in order for you to go do that?
I do believe
Okay.
that.
Can I jump
Okay.
in?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think being monogamous goes against our biology. I believe that searching or fulfilling that need is more aligned with our human nature. And I think cheating, which is going outside of your covenant relationship, is something that we practice, something that we have decided to do that goes against our human nature. When you look into the animal kingdom in the biological world, there are certain species that are monogamous. There are certain species that have multiple partners that fulfill those needs, the needs of procreation. I just have always felt like, you know, not cheating is just it's a choice that goes against certain biological needs or urges. And as in our moral and ethical standards that we've adapted today, that's where we are, where we have to choose to be monogamous. And I think it's really that simple. And like
Okay,
he
so
said,
you just hit on something, Rick. Hold on a second. You just hit on something because now we're talking about the construct of what we know in America today.
right.
The construct that we were raised in, our ancestors, and I'm talking about everybody in America wasn't slaves. I wish they'd really get the stories right in terms of, you know, we know about the slave trade and the whole thing, but we ain't about to go back down there. But even in tribal Africa, right, you have individuals that take on multiple wives, even present day, you know, in polygamous relationships because of you're wealthy enough to be able to take care of the families of those individuals. So that's just one aspect of it. So it hadn't always been, hey, one man, one woman, so to speak. Now we're not talking about Adam and Eve. We're not talking about that story, you know, whether it's literal or fictional, fictional, whatever the case may be. What we're saying is the contract of marriage is an American thing for the most part, right? Because even the kings of Europe had concubines. So it's not like, or midwives, whatever the case may be. So it's not like you had just a mano a mano situation and you signed that contract. So yes, as things evolved, that became the norm. Also, the religious aspect of it, you go through the church. We both came through the same church, St. Rose Catholic Church, right? Well, for a time. I mean, we knew that that's our base church. You were up in Meridian, but at the same time, you know, at the end of the day, it was the Catholic Church that we came through. So what we saw was the construct of man, woman, marriage, walk down the aisle, live happy life, right? For years. But then we forget about what's really going on within the dynamic of that family and why we're at ends. Why we're fighting, why we're going through everything that we're going through, whether it be financial, whether it be spiritual, whether it be educational, whatever topics that we need to touch to say these are reasons why, man, we've been together for 2-3 years, 5 years, you know, so you like get that 5-year itch, man, I'm getting tired of this mother. This shit ain't working, you know what I'm saying? But you still sticking it out and then you start venturing off and you finding the reasons as to why. So make me understand, you know, what we're dealing with from the man's standpoint of it, trying to do things correctly, because there are a lot of reasons that a man has outside of, you know, a need for him to step outside of a relationship.
Can I say something?
Yeah, I want you to.
And maybe you've heard this before.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard this
before on this podcast earlier, my daddy did it,
Right.
his daddy did it,
Right.
and his daddy before that did it.
Gotcha.
We're gonna keep going back to the same thing. We're gonna keep going back to the same repeating cycles in every walk of life until we decide that I'm gonna be the one to stop it. I'm gonna be the one who acts differently, who gets different results, and who secures a better future for my offspring. Period.
Okay. Lamont?
Yep, I agree with that. I also feel like from the boys or men's point of view, it's always been culturally to see how many women you can mess with.
Okay,
Right.
now we're getting somewhere.
And
now
so I think
we're getting somewhere.
Translates into adulthood in marriage, because that's what you trained your body to do.
And you have to decide, do I break that habit? Do I stop? Do I want my kids and the next generation to keep that cultural pattern, that cultural norm? I mean, God, without getting in too personal of other people's lives, but my grandparents, my father, my grandparents, they had multiple. Now, do you feel that is okay? That's the first thing. It's like, do you think that that's okay? And some of the answers, especially when I was younger, would have been yes, because that was a cultural norm. When I was in middle school and started smelling myself, all of us, we were trying to ring up tally marks, and then once you start creating habits, those habits are hard to break. They're hard to break. And until you decide, okay, is this for me? Is this something I want to do? Is this something I want to continue? It's going to continue until you decide, you know what? I have to go against that. I have to go against those urges. I have to go against those feelings. I have to go against those needs that are not being met. If those needs are not being met, I'm not going outside the house. We got to work on figure out how we get those needs met. Or do I just kind of shut down? What do I do? How do I approach this without going outside of that covenant? And it's communication. It's sacrifice. But what's best for you as a person? What's best for you as a man? Do you run a risk of losing certain things that you've built? Do you run the risk of losing the love of your kids, of your community? Have you been building something that people have kind of watched you build and are participating with, and you could lose all of that? Like, there's so many aspects to this question about cheating and why not. And I've taken a lot of slack because I've always had that opinion that I believe biologically there's an urge, there's a need innate in us to procreate with multiple women. You look
and
at.
I was about to ask that question from the religious side of it. It does say be fruitful and multiply. So, you're touching on it. So please continue.
Well, I mean, I just, when this is, especially, I guess this formulated when I was young. I watched older males, father figures that did delve in different situations. And then I also kind of started understanding different species, different mammals. How many mammals are monogamous versus those that are not. You take the lions on the Serengeti or whatever. You take all the different species of animals. How many of them find one mate and stick with that mate for the rest of their lives? But we have something totally different, which is our minds, which
Right, because
separates
we
us
have the
from.
ability to think on a whole different level.
Right.
Right.
Right. So we have chosen to make monogamy the standard in our society.
Okay. Let me
And
read a
once
couple of these. Let me read a couple of these statements right there. I don't want to cut nobody off,
Yeah.
but I like to involve the audience. Let's see. And as we're talking about this particular one, we closed out with the LGBTQ community. That's a misconception that therapists don't know about the LGBT community. There are therapists who are of the lifestyle. Yes, I understand that, but I guess you kind of misunderstanding what I'm saying in terms of we'd have to go back to come back to that particular conception. I'm not saying there's a misconception about the therapist. I'm saying that it's kind of hard for men to go ask that question when they're dealing with things. When you're saying that, hey man, I want to know about the lifestyle. Let's talk about the lifestyle. Am I homophobic? Do I have these tendencies? When in fact, most men don't even think about it until it's brought to their attention that they might be homophobic, right? So we'll go back and re-examine that part of it. Kiara, let's see. No, that was Kiara responding. And Mitchell, and have personal experiences or being gay or culturally contempt to work with individuals who are struggling. Okay. Those are. So you got to catch this stuff while we're talking about it to have an understanding of where we were, because this was a while back. This was about 10 minutes ago in the conversation. And Emily says there are sex therapists that can help teach how to meet your partner's needs. Okay, gotcha. How do you say that this is biologically okay, but that you can't accept same-sex couples biologically? I think that was to you, Rick. The most misunderstood. That's
hold on. Go back to that. Go.
Yeah.
Back.
How do you say that this is biologically okay, but that you can't accept same-sex couples biologically? That's what the statement was in Facebook. Now let me get this last one out. That misunderstood. That's misunderstanding on the Bible statement about the Bible reference. Be fruitful and multiply is in a reference to be holding a covenant with your spouse. Well, that's your opinion on that one. But maybe Rev can enlighten me. But go ahead, Rick. Go ahead and say what you was about to say in reference to what you was about to talk about.
And of course, all of this is my opinion. Whoever made that comment or whatever, and
Emily Mitchell, Miss Emily Mitchell made the comment.
And I don't really understand fully what she was saying, but all I was saying is that I think biologically we were supposed to have multiple partners biologically, but I don't think biologically two men were made to be together or two women were made together. I don't know if that clarifies what I was saying. So,
I mean, it clarifies it for me based on your talking point, definitely. Right. And we say that because if we're talking about and the fruitful and multiply, she was saying it was in reference to beholding the covenant, two people together, men and women. Okay, and you go out there and you have 100 kids. One woman's not going to have 100 kids, so no, that's not possible. And what do you mean by being fruitful and multiply? That can also be under review in terms of what you think success is in your life. Ultimately, we're getting to the point to where we're talking about where Lamont go. Okay, we're talking about what works for you, what works best for you. And now we're talking about the feel-good situation, feel-good side, as opposed to the standard or the norm of people. So, Lamont, do you have anything that you want to chime in and add to the conversation as it relates to? And this has nothing to do. I'm not saying anything about the concept of being faithful. I'm speaking specifically about cheating and men's urges or needs or wants to do that. Let's talk about that. Let's go ahead on and.
So again, I'm going to say this from the standpoint of what I believe. And because I believe in following scripture as my guide, the Bible teaches us that sex is to be between husband and wife. So because of that, I'm breaking that covenant if I go outside of marriage. So I'm not going to disagree with what he says about it being biologically, but I don't live by the biological side. I live by the spiritual side.
Right.
So I'm gonna
right.
follow what scripture say. And scripture say it's between husband and wife. And so if I choose to go out of that, I'm breaking a covenant that's between me and my spouse and God, because that's who the covenant is between. So for anybody else, that's your choice to do it that way. But for me, I'm gonna choose to follow what the scripture says.
Now I
And I
believe,
try to remain to that as my guide of how I look at it.
and I believe it's better to break biological habits or biological urges than to break scriptural, if you that's what you believe in scripturally. So I'm not saying that we should have multiple partners and have multiple babies all over the place. I'm not saying that we should do that. I just think that from a biological standing, that I think we were built that way. I think we were built that way. But now we have these covenants, we have our ethics and our morals that we've established, that these are the rules that we are going to live by.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I'm not saying everybody should be going to sleep with multiple people. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I just feel like biologically it's supposed to, or we were built to do that, I think. So
okay, so within those statements, and I'm in agreement. I have to say that I am in agreement, but I also have to ask this: what about the people that aren't married? So you're saying because there again, we're using marriage as though that's the litmus, that's the test, that's the bar, right? But what about those that aren't married or don't get married?
Sex outside of marriage is a sin. So you choose if you want to commit that sin or not.
You know what I'm saying? No. I'm talking about if you don't get married, if you're not married, and we're not talking about what's a sin and what's not a sin. I'm saying if I'm not married, I've never been married.
He's saying you shouldn't. He's saying you shouldn't have sex if you haven't been
right.
married.
That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh hell! I mean, no. Nah.
It depends on what you choose to follow. Again, sin is sin. It's your choice what you do. Again, if you're choosing to follow what scripture say, then that's what scripture say.
Okay.
If you're gonna flat out say, I'm not gonna follow that scripture and I'm gonna do it, that's your choice. I can't change your choice, but just know it's a sin.
I'm not doing the picking and choosing, but what I am saying is, come on now, that's kind of out there. We got 9 billion people on the planet, and everybody's not Catholic or Baptist.
It's scripture. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna stick on that. It's
well,
scripture.
Even in scripture, I mean, you have the Bhagavad Gita, you have the Quran, you have the Talmud, you have what's Buddha's book. So all of them don't say the exact same thing. All of them don't look at the precepts and the tenets of single, monogamous relationships the same. So now we're talking about who's right and who's wrong.
But that's why I said it's choice.
Okay,
you got to stand on what you believe. Okay. If your Bible and your scripture don't say that, then stand on that. Mm-hmm. I'm just speaking from me. Everybody, we are made as free moral agents to choose whichever thing we want to do.
Right.
So you make your choice. Everybody has to give an account for their own self. Mm-hmm. So every person has to choose.
Okay.
Choose what they're going to follow and what they're not going to follow.
Okay. Rick,
it all comes down to choice. It all comes down to a choice.
I see you chipping at the bit, Rick. Talk to me. I see your brain.
No. I'm just in agreement with him. Is that everybody has their own choices? Like, yeah, there's a million different religions, a million different scriptures. What do you choose to live your life by? And guess what? I can't judge you
because you don't do what I do. I can't judge you for not following what I follow.
Okay.
Even though I'll have an opinion about it, but I truly can't judge you. You live the way you live.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to let you be who you want to be, who you choose to be. I have to live my life. You have to live your life.
Okay. Now, let me ask this question, right? I mean, we about to close out here because we've been at it for 2 hours. I didn't even know we'd be going at it for this long. When it's good conversation, hey, it seems to happen that way. But this is very important, and this is very important for this conversation. And it's dealing with finance. It's dealing with the importance of finance. It's dealing with the importance of breaking what we say are generational curses and how we go about doing that in the Black community and as Black men and as Black leaders. So I know both of you are very opinionated about this and have some ideas and some concepts that we need to give people that are paying attention and listening. I know we kind of, steamboated past the cheating topic, but we'll be here all day talking about that. What's the right, the wrong, the in and out, even with the LGBTQ community situation. We're not going to solve all of that today. I get that. But, we're talking about mental health. We're talking about men's mental wellness and spiritual health and spiritual wellness. So these are things that we talk about, but not live and in public and out to the world. So this is one thing that we definitely have to talk about: finance. And Rick, I'm gonna let you start off with the talk topic, and then we're gonna close out with you, Lamont, on the whole thing. All right.
All right. Well, I believe we need to go back into financial literacy from a young age, from as young as possible. It's money rules the world, whether you believe in it or not. It does. It is one of those topics that people don't like to talk about. And the reason a lot of people don't like to talk about money and finances, because most people don't understand. Most people haven't had any education in finance. And it's pretty disheartening having conversations with people who you believe or should understand at this point in their life. But where do you learn it from? And it goes back to what I've said, and you can say it if you want to, but if your daddy didn't have financial literacy,
Yeah.
it's because his daddy didn't have financial literacy and his daddy didn't. And so somebody has to be the change. Somebody has to start. Somebody has to figure it out. How do you figure it out? You start a self-directed education in finances, and you start a self-directed shift. You learn everything you can about money and how money works, how it operates, who controls it, what do you do with it. It ain't about how much money you make. It's about how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. I teach a financial literacy class every single year. Is my favorite topic to teach, because if we can get a hold of the financial situation, we can solve all the other topics that we had, or we can help all the other topics that we had if we didn't have to worry about money. A lot of times when money comes into play, our lack or knowledge, the lack of knowledge about it exacerbates every other issue we have in this world. I like to talk about, people getting an abundance of money so you don't have to worry about money. People who have it don't have to worry about it as much. And you can focus on those other issues and those other topics that you have to deal with.
Yep. I'll just tag on to that and just say that when you have money issues, it's going to affect your mental health.
Yes.
Because you're going to be so focused on trying to figure it out and trying to go get it to provide for your family, to do all of these things. And if you're living above your means and you got to work 3 jobs, that's going to stress you out. And it's going to have an impact on your mental health. And so I would say that getting your finances intact and understanding it is a part of keeping your mental health in good standing, is making sure that that's something that you don't leave out of your priorities of things to work on. And just like you said, and I knew you was gonna say it, a lot of that comes from prior generations of not being taught how to handle money, how to save money, how to use money. And until we figure out that financial literacy piece and start teaching at a young age, I think that cycle continues from generation to generation.
Okay, so I believe in God. I let go and let God. I mean, I give it up. I have my problems. I take them up to the man. What's wrong with that? I'm not seeing the results. Please, Rev, talk to me. What's going on?
That's great. All of that's great. And that's part of my financial literacy is to make sure I take care of God's house. That's part of how I control my finances also. But at the end of the day, if a man don't work, he don't eat. And that's scripture too. And so you got to go out and get it. But what do you do with it when you get it? And too many times people want to depend on God to just supply a need when you haven't done the work yourself. And so you got to put in some work too. And you got to do some stuff in order to accumulate those finances. God is not going to just drop it down in your lap and you do nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. You got to do the work.
So at the end of the day, it's never too late though to get started.
Never too late.
Never too late.
If we would put more effort and time, or as much as we do into certain things, like we should with finances, like how many people do you think have read a finance book, who have read books that would actually change their life from a financial aspect? But I talk to my kids who are readers, like y'all read Twilight and vampire books. A lot of people binge watch Netflix shows. I'm like, get on the financial side of TikTok. There's so much powerful information. You can learn anything on YouTube. Like, you can change your financial situation in a matter of months if you get the right information. The problem is we're not seeking the right information. We struggle. We think that the only way to make money is trade time for money. And that's not the case. And when I figured it out, my whole life changed. Now I have passive residual income that I make while I'm asleep. And the crazy part is everybody can do it. And then what do you do with the money when you make it? You invest it. You don't buy a $300 pair of Jordans. You don't. And I don't want to get into all the detail because I get worked up when it comes to finances, because I know and understand what it takes to get yourself in a great financial position is not as hard as people think. All you got to do is start reading. All you got to do is start watching. All you got to do is start listening. All you got to do is counsel with people who are doing the right things. And a great start, shameless plug, the Self-Directed Shift. I got a chapter on finances, financial intelligence, what it takes, what you need to do to start the process. For young people, I got a chapter called Money Matters, because money does matter. In my Creating a Shift book for young people, like, I'm trying to teach people that if you solve the money issues, man, you almost eliminate all the other issues. It's hard to be, and I don't want to make light of nobody's situation. I'm about to say it's hard to be depressed when you got a whole bunch of money coming to your bank account, but that's not true. That's not true. I don't want to make light of the situation of some people who struggle. There's people with money who do struggle mentally. Okay. But my point is, if you solve the financial issue, you'll be able to solve a lot of the other issues in your life.
All right, Lamont.
No, I agree. I don't have anything else to add to that.
Okay. Well, look, man. Let me get both of y'all back on here. It's been a great conversation with both of you. We had little technical issues in the beginning. We worked it all out. And maybe it was because I just didn't need to be on the screen, because we ain't had a problem since I've been off the screen. So I appreciate both of you for coming on. I wish I really could have read all of these comments. We had a bunch of people on here tapped in, listening in from Twitch to YouTube, IG, Facebook, and the responses and the comments are overwhelming. And I say overwhelming because people are engaged and they're listening to the conversation. So this conversation has to be had, not just by us, but it has to be had. We have to talk. These are things that we don't talk about normally, and we should, or at least give ourselves an opportunity to begin to talk about them. And I agree with both of you that it starts with our young kids, and all of us are in a situation where we've raised our kids. Ricky, you've got some wonderful sons that you out there, fighting for every day. And not only your sons, but you fight with those kids and fight for those kids and pour to those kids at Pass Christian High School and the elementary school, and not just the schools that you work at, but surrounding areas. You know what I'm saying? We see it. You're active with it. Lamont, the same situation. You've gone through different situations and scenarios, and you've worked your way up the chain as it relates to the educational field. And what you've done with your career and what you've done with yourself. And if I'm not mistaken, you've just been ordained or put into the position of reverend. And you've taken on a lot of responsibilities with the church that you're affiliated with and you're a part of. You're actually, our prayer warrior and leader. I mean, in our family group, you send your morning dedication and motivational, inspirational prayers every morning, and it means so much. Let me see, get Ricky back up in here. And it means so much. Are you there, Ricky? I can't see you on the screen. Where's Ricky at? There you go. It's raining down there by you, Rick. Yeah, I hear a bunch of static. So yeah, man. I was talking about you, Lamont, as it relates to all of your accomplishments and everything. Yeah, I know you can't hear me, and everything that you've done, man. And so all I can say is thank you. Thank you for being a wonderful man. Thank you for being a wonderful father. Thank you for being a great individual to my little niece, Rye, and also your new baby that you guys have in hand, and being a great father and leader for my sister and y'all family. Because a lot of people that might be on this thing might not necessarily have known that you are my brother-in-law, right? Ricky, I can't see you. I can't see you, Ricky. He came back, but I can't see him. And so with that being the case, man, I've had an opportunity to see you guys' relationship grow from college to present day. You get what I'm saying? Because you guys, met in college.
20 years next month.
That's right. So, that in itself is just awesome. It's phenomenal. And there's a lot of ups and downs that take place in 20 years of a relationship. My beautiful wife and I, we've been together now for going on 27 years, right? Because G is 26 at this point. Tolu is 25. So yes, and I'm asking these questions and I'm talking about this stuff with Mental Health Awareness Month for men, and the importance of it, because people don't know what we go through, Lamont. Even sometimes the women in our lives don't know what we go through, right? And sometimes, you say, okay, how do I open up? How do I be vulnerable to a situation when I'm supposed to be the strong pillar of our family, right? So how can I be strong when I'm being vulnerable and open to you about some things that I might be dealing with or going through? And so now how are you going to view me as my wife? You get what I mean? In this relationship, knowing that I'm feeling weak and I'm feeling vulnerable in this situation, and I can't handle the shit that's going on. You get what I mean? So that's why these conversations have to be had, man. To at least give men an opportunity to express, yes, I agree, but also be vocal about how do you address it? How do I make note to, hey, this is what's going on in my life right now. Why are you nagging me when I've explained to you 5 times the same thing? You know what I'm saying? How do you get past that as a man? You've said the same thing to me 5 or 6 times. I've given you the same response. What else do you want me to say? do women want men to lie to them? Does that make them feel better to know that, hey, you much rather me tell you a lie than me tell you the truth? Because when I tell you the truth, you don't believe the truth. So these are you laughing, Rick. but y'all know I'm telling the truth when I'm stating what I'm stating, because we've all gone through it, right? We might not want to necessarily admit it, or we laugh at it right now because it's funny, but at the same time, in that moment, you might want to choke the shit out of somebody. Like, man, please leave me the hell alone.
It hurt your heart.
Yeah, yes. So, but come on, I'm just being honest, man. About what you've gone through, because Rick, you and your wife have been. I'm 27 years. Lamont says he's 20. I know you good 20 plus years in your relationship. 26. That's right. So the ups and the downs of relationships, and how. This is my thing. How are you gonna go to somebody that hadn't been through 20 plus years of relationship, you look for relationship advice? You can't. I'm gonna go listen to them good people up there in Canton, right? They've been married for over 50 plus years. You get what I'm saying? They can give me, whether I like it or not, they can give me sound relationship advice. Why? Because they've been together for 50 plus years. How y'all stay together? You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people gonna tell you, well, I went in my room, she stayed in her room, and they gonna, But is that a healthy relationship, though, Lamont? You know what I mean?
It got them to 56.
They got them to 56. Okay.
I guess it is healthy. They got to 56.
but a lot of times people say, okay, well, how do you sit there and deal with knowing that, hey, man, you've dedicated your entire life? Me and my wife have been together for half of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
For
half. Not just like, half of her life, half of my life, we've been together. You see? So, like I say, man.
That's a whole nother topic. You can do a whole podcast on just
I can. And my wife, you can't do podcasts for real. You can't sit there and express nothing. Because my wife on here talking about, is that how you really feel, baby? You know what I'm saying? We can't be journalists and opinionated and bring the top topics without the aftermath. I already knew it was coming.
You better get off before you don't make it to 27. You better get off.
Stop.
Before you don't make it to 27.
Don't do that, man. No, but when you can have an open and honest conversation and laugh about it and everything that you've gone through in your relationship, Lamont, I ain't got nothing to hide. You know who I am. You've been on this journey just like everyone else. That knows anything about me and my life. I'm not perfect.
Nobody is.
I am not perfect. Never proclaimed to be perfect. But I can say one thing. I love my wife. I love my life. I love my family. Right? I love everything that we as a unit have created and developed as a unit. You see, so is there any other place in the world that I want to be? I'd have to say no. But sometimes that isn't conveyed in conversation. Sometimes that isn't expressed as you go through life day to day. I don't do that every day. Maybe that's my fault. I mean, just because I say I love you, do you feel the fact that I really love you? Or is it just repetition and you hearing me say it? You see? Now, do I have to go get you flowers every weekend? Do I have to go do all these extraordinary things just to make you feel good? Or the fact that, hey, I'm committed and dedicated. How do you know this? I'm here after 27 years, right? I'm not trying to go anywhere else. You see? So what more do I have to do to make you understand that you stuck with me? Does that make sense?
That's how I feel too. I ain't going nowhere.
So no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter how mad you get, no matter how distraught or upset things may, guess what? I'm not going nowhere. Now, granted, if in fact you get to the point to where, as you say, you're done, you said, I'm done, I want out. Okay. Are you sure that's what you want? Because I'm not going to fight with you, because I don't argue and bicker, and I don't do any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when you state what you state, make sure that's what it is that you really want with me. Or the end result is going to be something very different. I'm not coming crying. I'm not old. There's no coming back. None of that. You know what I'm saying? And my wife is the same way. You know what I mean? Like, motherfucker, you leave me, it's over. You know, so it's not like it's just a one-way street. It's let's have a true understanding that we're not going to play with this we done game. You know, break up to make up shit. No, we're going to make up to keep making up to keep on making up. There is no breaking of the up.
Yep.
So that's just my thoughts on it. Any last words?
I enjoyed
it. My damn little sister say we keep it nail if we do go. I'm out. Nail in. Ain't that some stuff? What I tell you? Woo. Anyway, I'm gonna keep Rick on because we're about to close out. Lamont, I want you to close us out with a prayer if you don't mind, man.
Okay.
Talk to it.
Eternal God, our Father, how we thank you now for this time we've shared together, tackling all of these topics, especially mental health, God. Now, God, it's my prayer that everyone who was on this podcast on today, oh God, heard something, said something that would help them in the days to come, oh God. God, I understand that your word says that we can cast all our cares on you because you care for us, oh God, and you would keep us in perfect peace if our minds stayed on you, oh God. So, God, we stand on that, and we know that all we have to do is seek the help, and we can live this life with a strong mental health. So, God, we thank you. We pray for every person that was on here tonight, God. And then, God, as we lay down to sleep today, God, we pray that you will give us rest. And then you will wake us to see brand new days with brand new mercies. It's in your daughter's son, Jesus' name, we pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. I definitely appreciate that. Amen, ladies and gentlemen. Reverend Lamont Mitchell, aka Pastor Pointed Toes, in the building, baby. Yes, indeed, y'all know. Hey, if you ain't part of my family, you don't know who Pastor Pointed Toes is, ladies and gentlemen. He be in some of the sharpest. I'm talking about some of the sharpest suits with some of the nicest Stacy. I'm talking about them. You know, the stations that be like a couple $1,000 a piece, Stacy. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to figure out where them ties going. You know what I mean? Is they going to the choice or is they going to the shorts? Let me know.
I knew you weren't going to let me off of here without saying that. I knew you weren't going to let me off.
You know I love you, bro. You know
I love you, bro. I love you. It was good doing this.
Yeah, man. I had fun with it, man. I enjoyed it. Ricky, I appreciate you, man. I can't see you on the screen, so I'm going to close out with Lamont on the screen. And y'all already know with me, man. As always, it's about health, wealth, and wellness. Man, stay dangerous. Thank y'all.